Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, the Viking here of course, and today is a video where I'm going to break down Flash v Spider-Man 3. Now of course, these movies are in completely different universes, completely different companies are doing these films, but why am I pitching the two of them against each other? Well, because of the multiverse. And will the multiverse work? In fact, can DC and Marvel pull off the multiverse? Now, go back to 2016, we had Batman v Superman come out, we had Captain America Civil War. A lot of people say that Marvel copied DC, that Marvel took the concept of their two heroes, their biggest heroes, fighting each other in one showdown. People said Jeff Johns leaked information to Kevin Feige because he loves Kevin Feige and the two of them are friends and they've had dinner together and they wear the same baseball cap. I don't fully believe those kind of things, but I do believe Kevin Feige knew they were doing Batman v Superman because it was announced, in 2014 they started doing it. It was ready for 2015, but got delayed a full year to 2016. This gave Marvel time to greenlit Captain America Civil War. And they both came around at the same time. And two fantastic movies, two movies that I really love. Of course, I prefer Batman v Superman, but that doesn't mean I like Civil War any less. Yes, the two movies have similarities. The two heroes fight each other. They come together in a sense to be the bigger evil. But those films are very different to me. Very different. And for the people that say that they're a copy of each other, that Marvel copied DC, I'm not one of those people. I think they're two completely different movies with just the same concept of V in the title, you know? The Civil War, the Captain America v Iron Man kind of thing, you know? I like both movies, but I don't think they're a carbon copy of each other or anything like that. But again, it was DC's fault. Why was it DC's fault? Well, they pushed the film back a full year. It was supposed to come out in March 2015. They pushed it back to 2016. This gave Marvel time. You know, DC could have been there first and they could have established this kind of brilliant idea, but they waited a full year, gave Marvel time, and then Civil War came out around the same time. So that was DC's fault themselves. But can the multiverse work? Well, back in 2016, people were like, can Batman v Superman work? Can Captain America v Iron Man, can it work? Can they pull it off? Can Kevin Feige pull it off? Can the Russo brothers, can Snyder pull it off? And they all did, perfectly, brilliantly. Now, the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, of course, is the better version, and that's the one that should have got put out in theaters. But if you were to say which is a better film in theaters to see, Civil War or Batman v Superman, you might have said Civil War, because it feels like more of a complete movie. But then if you watch the Ultimate Edition of Batman v Superman, it's a way better movie, okay? But this brings us to the point now of Flash v Spider-Man 3. Now, in both movies, we don't have two heroes pitched against each other to fight. In both movies, it's bringing in the multiverse concept, and what the multiverse concept is any character from any DC movie world can come into this movie, and they can meet and explore, much like the Into the Spider-Verse animated feature, which won an Oscar, which brought Spider-Man from different dimensions, Spider-Man Noir, Pig Spider-Man, Peter Parker, Miles Morales, and so on, Gwen Stacy. And it was done pretty well and a really good film. And we know for years that Sony have tried to do a Sinister Six versus the Spider-Man movie. That seems to be happening in Spider-Man 3 along with the Into the Spider-Verse element. But the Flash movie also seems to be bringing in the multiverse. Not only is Flash, and it makes sense, he's a speedster, he can change dimensions, go into parallel universes, create waves in time, and we'll see a little bit of that in the Snyder Cut in 2021. And we hear that Michael Keaton will come back to the role as Batman, along with Ben Affleck also. And there's very strong rumours that Nicolas Cage could be coming to play Superman, a character that he was supposed to play in the 1990s in a Tim Burton movie. Strong rumours that Linda Carter, the first Wonder Woman, could be coming back as Wonder Woman. We don't know yet. But both movies are using the multiverse. And people will say that Marvel copied DC or DC copied Marvel. But Spider-Man 3 is coming out in December 2021. The Flash is coming out in November 2022. Of course, Marvel is coming first. So people would say DC are copying what Marvel did because there's a year and a gap. Who were the first to say that they were doing a multiverse kind of concept movie? DC. Then we heard stuff about Marvel doing the same thing. So for me, it's not one copying the other, but it's Marvel getting that extra edge again. The Marvel Cinematic Universe was fully established when Batman v Superman came around. So people preferred Marvel in a way. Media outlets, a false kind of outlook on the DC Universe as a failure, kind of work, can Zack Snyder do his thing? And people said they preferred Civil War and was a better movie and they did the concept way better than Zack Snyder did. Probably a lot to do because Marvel has been around since 2008 and it did everything better, and DC was only trying to start their universe. And people looked at Marvel and DC as two cinematic universes at the exact same thing. People criticised DC because it didn't do standalone after standalone, then the Justice League movie like Marvel had did with their individual heroes. So there was a lot of criticism like that, but people didn't realise, and I think people are fully realising now, that Zack Snyder had a 5-story arc: Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, the Snyder Cut in 2021, and hopefully 2 and 3 will get made eventually. But people didn't understand that. They pitched the two of them together as Marvel v DC, the cinematic universes colliding, and that's what happened. But DC have only themselves to blame with the criticism that they've faced. You know, they do. The Flash, the first announcement of a Flash solo film in development, was 2013. 2013. I think Ezra Miller was cast in 2014 or maybe 2015 with a date of a 2016 release for a solo Flash movie. In the same year, Aquaman. Or then it was switched to 2018, the same year as Aquaman. So they only have themselves to blame that they've delayed this movie for years and years and years. Now, I don't know if the first initial script was a multiverse concept. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. But they only have themselves to blame to get to the multiverse element first. And Marvel is going to be there, and they're going to be the ones who have digs on the multiverse concept. I know they've done it in the CW, of course, but how many people watch that? How big and broad is that to average audiences? Not that much. So DC have only themselves to blame. They've delayed The Flash for years. Director after director, writer after writer, when they could have had a Flash solo film in 2016 or 2018 or 2019 or even in 2020. But now it's delayed again and again till 2022. Nearly 10 years after they announced a Flash solo film was coming. You know, it's crazy, and that's the concept. And I don't initially blame the people who are over DC right now, the likes of Walter Hamada and whoever else is there. It's switched over time, and WB, Warner Media, HBO Max is evolving. New positions are being created, new people are coming in. Jim Lee is over a certain part as well. So it is changing. So I don't really blame the people that are involved right now. I blame Warner Brothers' reactionary decisions, Warner Brothers' initial plans when they tried to create this DC universe. For me, they had one idea of copying Marvel, and then they had Zack Snyder who was doing his 5-story. They wanted more of a Marvel cinematic universe with solo film, then they get to the big screen, and that's what their initial plan was after Justice League failed. They said, we're just concentrating on individual stories. But then of course the Snyder Cut movement rose up, and we know what happened there, and of course the Snyder Cut is coming. Wonder Woman 84, Batman, all these projects are happening, and the multiverse is very much alive. But Marvel are going to be there first in 2021, implementing the multiverse. Flash could have been there years ago. They could have had a Flash movie implementing those ideas into the first Flash movie. Now, since they've announced a Flash movie in 2013, what have we had? We've had Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. Spider-Man 2, The Amazing Spider-Man 2 came out, failed kind of with critics, made a lot of money, but it led to Sony making a deal with Marvel. You think his Flash movie would come then? No. Tom Holland was cast. Tom Holland was in Civil War. Tom Holland was in Avengers. Tom Holland has played the character 6 times by the time Spider-Man 3 has come out. While in 2013 they announced the Flash solo movie was happening. 2 Spider-Man actors. 6 appearances as Spider-Man. 4 Spider-Man movies before they actually got their act together and had a Flash movie. Now the thing about the Flash movie is, it's not like they're in production right now. No, they haven't even started shooting anything for the Flash. Now I'm patient. We're talking to someone who was in the Snyder Cut movement here. I'm pretty patient when it comes to these movies. But DC have themselves to blame when people have the criticisms, even though they might be false criticisms, that Marvel did it first, that Marvel did it better. You know, it really is annoying to see as a DC fan, even though I like both. But DC have only themselves to blame with the way they handle their operations, the way they handle their movies, their writers, the directors, their outlook on a DC universe. They only have themselves to blame, and they're only slowly now coming good in terms of having gone away from that Marvel Cinematic Universe. They've said to themselves, no, look, we'll do our own thing. We can have a Joker R-rated movie. We can have the Batman with Matt Reeves. We can have the Snyder Cut come out on HBO Max. We can have Stargirl. We can have Teen Titans. We can have Doom Patrol. We can have Swamp Thing. We can have the CW world. We can have this Flash movie implement other characters. We can have Wonder Woman 84. We can have different universes playing at the same time. And Ezra Miller himself had said this before in an interview in the press tour for Fantastic Beasts 2. That Marvel is one confined universe, while DC has different parallel universes, different universe speedsters implementing the way things are going. And he was right. He was 100% right. But when the argument started to come out that Marvel copied DC or DC copied Marvel, and that's what it's going to be, people are going to say, well, Marvel did that a year ago with Spider-Man 3, and that was pretty cool. Tobey Maguire and all those guys showed up. Now DC are doing the same thing a year later? They copied the idea. And look, they set themselves up for that kind of argument. And I'm a fan of both. I'll go in and I'll watch both, and I don't really care. The same way in 2016, I didn't care that the two of them were pitching against each other. I just wanted to see Captain America Civil War, Iron Man, Batman v Superman, Superman come into it, fight Batman, all that kind of stuff. I wanted to see it because it was cool. But it's annoying as a diehard DC fan to see how the DC universe has evolved over time. When they could have had their Flash movie in 2013 or 2016, the Green Lantern in 2013. You know, like even Jason Momoa was cast before they started shooting Aquaman. Or Batman v Superman, I should say. So he was cast, he met Zack Snyder, he said, okay, you're going to be my Aquaman. Then they started shooting Batman v Superman. And that came out in 2016. He got cast in 2014 or maybe even late 2013. Then his solo movie wasn't until 2018, the start of 2019. You know, so things like that are just annoying. But can it work? Can the multiverse work? Can we get two really good movies? Well, I'll say, look at the track records. When they wanted to do Batman v Superman or Captain America v Iron Man, it worked. It did work. Two very good movies. It worked. And they made it work. Kevin Feige, Zack Snyder, they made it work and we really, really liked it. Maybe you like one over the other. That's okay. But can they make this multiverse? The multiverse is very different than having two heroes just fight each other. It's a very different concept and a very complicated concept. We've seen it time travel in movies. We've seen in comic books where they bring other characters into a multiverse, or they cross over DC and Marvel, or they have Batman with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Things like that are pretty cool to see on the surface, but can they really work? Well, right now, the Spider-Man movie is bringing back Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Alfred Molina, Jamie Foxx, possibly Emma Stone as Gwen Stacy, Kirsten Dunst as Mary Jane, maybe even more. We got Doctor Strange in it as well. Vulture, will he appear? Will Venom appear? All these characters are set to be in Spider-Man 3, and this is going to open up the multiverse. It really is. But can they make it work? Now, the director, I've said before, the two movies he did of Spider-Man were fine, they're okay. Nothing special though. And I think Tom Holland has the potential to be the greatest Spider-Man of all time, but he's being let down big time by some of the script that he has to work with. I think he was very good in Endgame, very good in Infinity War, very good in Civil War, because I think the Russo brothers kind of get the character a little bit more. Now, I liked Far From Home a lot, but again, it didn't have that element that the Tobey Maguire movies had, or even the Andrew Garfield movies. So can he make this third movie with all these characters work? I have my doubts as him as a director, but again, Kevin Feige is probably a lot hands-on with this movie than maybe a few of the other movies, because this is a very interesting concept. It's not only bringing characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but the characters from Sam Raimi, characters from the Mark Webb world, characters from God knows where else. Can the DC Flash multiverse movie work? We got Ben Affleck's Batman. We got Michael Keaton coming back. Now, Andy Muschietti did an unbelievable job with It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2. Christina Hodson, the writer of Bumblebee, which I liked, had a lot of heart in it, and I do have confidence that she will do a pretty good job with the Flash movie. Can they make it work? Will DC let them do their thing with so many characters coming from so many prestigious universes? Got Ben Affleck's Batman, he's loved. Michael Keaton's Batman, considered the greatest Batman of all time. Can it work? It's interesting. But which has the most hype right now? That's another interesting question that we have to ask ourselves. And that's why I wanted to bring up the argument at the start of the video about DC have only themselves to blame. Where is the hype for this movie right now? Spider-Man 3 is shooting right now. These characters are popping up, they're shooting the scenes, it's ready to release in December 2021. Again, the Flash movie, nada. They're not even shooting anything. They said maybe early 2021 they'll start shooting, but again guys, we've been in this situation before where the directors have come in, different writers have come in, and the movie has got delayed even more. And we're left like this, what's happening with the Flash movie? We have 2 Wonder Woman movies. Aquaman made a billion. Aquaman 2 was going to happen in 2021. That's a guarantee. It could have made $1 billion. But where's the hype right now? Where are fan bases, or the fan base, talking about online? They're talking about Spider-Man 3 because little news is popping up here and there. Now, of course, when Michael Keaton was rumoured, that blew up things big. Then Ben Affleck was confirmed, that blew it up again. But then now there's kind of a gap where there's absolutely nothing. While Spider-Man had these kind of rumours, not confirmed yet, but rumours of Jamie Foxx, Alfred Molina, Tobey Maguire. But they're already shooting the movie. So, I just wanted to bring that to you guys today. Spider-Man v The Flash, or The Flash v Superman, whoever you want first, that's up to you. But it's interesting. The multiverse could have happened years ago with DC, and they could have been the first to do it. Very much like Marvel were the first to have their group of heroes together in the Avengers, or their, things like that. It does make a difference when you're trying to engage with a fan base and trying to win over average audiences. It does matter. It really does. And when you're trying to get people hyped, you want to get people engaged in your product, you want to get people to come out when the Flash movie comes out, it really does matter. You have to make the audience want to care. And the marketing campaign for Spider-Man 3 is going to be very interesting. Will they show Tobey Maguire? Will they show Andrew Garfield? I'm guessing they will have to, because then you eat into the Raimi fan base, the Garfield fan base. Then people will want to see these characters come back along with the coexisting MCU fan base and Tom Holland's stance. So it's pretty interesting that way. But I'm looking forward to the Flash movie as well as Spider-Man 3. I can't wait as a fan. I'll be there to watch both of them. But I get a little bit annoyed when DC could have had these things in their element and having them done right now. Like the Snyder Cut could have come out in 2017. We could have got a Justice League 2 and 3. The universe could have been open a little bit more. But again, DC do some things that Marvel have failed to do. No R-rated movies. A movie like Batman coming on its own existing universe with Matt Reeves, that's not happening over at Marvel. That's why I think Marvel has a lot more to offer in their cinematic universe. But things could be changing. If Matt Murdock from the Netflix series is going to end up in the Spider-Man movie, I know he won't be R-rated or anything like that, or even Deadpool won't be R-rated. But it's interesting that they're acknowledging other universes and implementing them in some capacity in the MCU. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. The Flash v Spider-Man 3. Which movie is gaining more momentum right now? Now, of course, Spider-Man 3 is closer. But which movie is gaining average audience's attention more? Now, if Nicolas Cage was cast as Superman for the Flash movie, or Tobey Maguire, which creates more hype? Well, we never got to see Nicolas Cage in a Superman suit in a live-action movie. We got to see Tobey Maguire in 3 successful movies. So which creates more hype when it gets announced? Certain things like that, Or Linda Carter, where's her fan base right now? It's cool to see her pop up in the movie, but does she have this massive fan base right now? Or does Andrew Garfield have more of a fan base? So elements like that. I think Flash will have to do a little bit more in their multiverse concept, and they will probably be forced to make changes to that script just because of what Marvel is doing. And should they do that, should they make reactionary decisions? Just because Marvel is having Toby or Andrew or these certain characters come back and they're fresher and newer characters instead of a Linda Carter or a Nicolas Cage? No, they shouldn't. I have full confidence that the Flash solo movie could end up being a better overall movie than Spider-Man 3. Very much like Batman v Superman is a better story than Civil War. But then again, are they going to stick to that, or will they be reactionary? Much like Warner Brothers when they were reactionary when Batman v Superman came out. They made changes to Justice League. We got Justice League. Things like that happened. So I do have fears still about Warner Brothers' reactionary decisions. But I hope the right people are in the right places right now. And Andy Muschietti is allowed to do his right thing. Do what he wants to do. He has earned that with his It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 successes. but I just hope they don't be reactionary. But I do think that the Justice League, the full Justice League, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, Cyborg, Batman, Superman, I think they will all appear in the Flash movie because they will want to outdo Spider-Man 3. Which is more hype, if the Justice League show up or two Spider-Mans show up, Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield. It's pretty interesting. It's exciting to be a fan base that we're going to be spoiled. But can they make it work? That's going to be interesting. Can they make good movies? That's going to be interesting. I have more faith that the Flash solo movie will be a better movie than Spider-Man 3. But I won't lie, I'm more hyped for Spider-Man 3 right now than I am the Flash movie. Even though I love Ben Affleck's Batman, but he might only have a small role. And Tobey Maguire could have a small role as well. I'm excited for both, but I want to see Tobey back in the suit. He's my favourite Spider-Man. And then Deadpool's showing up. These kind of characters, if it does happen, it's going to be great. But probably as a fan, I'm more amazed by Spider-Man 3 because we're getting information daily. Well, the Flash movie has been delayed and new writers, new directors, and we don't know what's really happening with it. That's probably why, from my point of view. But 2021, Spider-Man 3, I can't wait. 2022, the Flash movie, I can't wait. Hopefully it sticks to 2022. Hopefully, but it's probably going to get moved to 2023. That's just going by the past things that DC has done with their movies. But it's all interesting. Guys, get in the comments. Like, comment, subscribe. If you're not subscribed, I want to get you to subscribe because I love talking to you guys about movies. Guys, get in the comments. Let me know everything you think. What's your opinions? What's your thoughts about this Flash movie, the Spider-Man 3 movie? Can they work? Can the multiverse work? Is there too many characters involved? That's another critical thing people are saying. Too many characters. Too many characters. Too many characters. But Civil War men at work. Avengers, Infinity War men at work. What do you think, guys? Get in the comments. Let me know. What are you excited for? Am I just being too critical of DC and what they've done since 2013? Let me know. Guys, stay safe. Watch something that makes you happy. Do something that makes you happy. You only got one life. Do what you want to do, not what others want you to do.